Hey. Wow. Well, it's so great to be here. I'm so glad to be with so many patriots. And yes, this is a nonpartisan issue. So I definitely encourage you to go and check out our website. If you can bear to type the word Democrats, you can do it. You know, it seems to be it's kind of an edgy issue to talk about United Nations Agenda 21 Sustainable Development, right? Because, the story is that you're a tinfoil hat, you're a conspiracy theorist, you've got a black helicopter hovering over your head or something like that. But, those days are over. That is all over with because it is clear and it is getting more and more and more powerful, the knowledge, the information, that this is not a conspiracy theory, that this is a conspiracy fact, and it's happening now all across the United States and all across the world. So, yes, you are going to find yourself, as an American, you will find yourself completely at odds with and deeply concerned by the agenda for the 21st century. And that is what it's called, Agenda 21. It's not Area 51, it's not Catch 22. It's the agenda for the 21st century, and that's what it's called by the United Nations, okay? And it's a blueprint. This is what it is. It is a blueprint. It is the action plan to inventory and control all land, all water, all minerals, all plants, all animals, all construction, all means of production, all information, all energy, and all human beings in the world. It is a completely comprehensive plan. It is an inventory and control plan. And we are seeing it mainly as a land use plan, but I'm going to show you how everything that's happening now that you're experiencing is Agenda 21. And in fact, it's almost like it's not what is Agenda 21, it's what isn't Agenda 21. And you're going to have to look long and hard to find what isn't. I'll tell you what, this is not Agenda 21 right here, okay? So what it is, it's a transition from representative government to government by unelected boards and commissions. It's an erasure of our jurisdictional boundaries. It is a loss of our private property rights and private property ownership. It's a loss of sovereignty and ultimately, of course, a loss of our freedom because our personal sovereignty is the most important private property we have. Our bodies are our private property. And this plan is about inventorying and controlling not just all of your land and your water and everything on the earth, but you too. So it's a nonpartisan issue, obviously, right? Because you're going to be concerned not just as Americans, but as free human beings. And of course, not just as Americans, but as people across the world. This is an international plan. It is a plan for global governance, for one world government. So yeah, I am a Democrat. I'm a liberal Democrat. And it's funny because I was on Glenn Beck's show a couple of weeks back. I don't know if you caught that. And he said, I made a comment at the beginning of the show, and he said, well, I don't know how it is that a liberal progressive Democrat could be, out there talking about Agenda 21. And I said, hey, I said I was a liberal Democrat. I didn't say I was progressive, And somebody's got to take back that party. So here it is. Yeah, why not? So United Nations Agenda 21, Sustainable Development, it was signed onto, it's an agreement. It was signed onto by 179 nations, including the United States, in 1992 at the United Nations Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. George H.W. Bush committed the United States to implementing sustainable development and it's been supported by every president ever since, right? It's a global plan, but it's implemented locally. So that's why we're seeing it locally. That's its strength. The strength of the plan is that it's global, but implemented locally. And that's also its weakness, because we are local. Okay? So here it is. UN Agenda 21, Sustainable Development, is the biggest public relations scam in the history of the world. But it's far more than that. The agenda for the 21st century is a recipe for our destruction. It enables and justifies the monitoring, metering, and restricting of our energy and water usage. And you'll see that as smart meters, right? And it's not just your gas and your electric meters, also water meters. Smart water meters are coming. Instituting a carbon tax on our industry. It enables and justifies pulverizing our roads and destroying our dams, sinking our economy, exhausting our military with endless war, diagnosing a huge portion of our population with mental illness and drugging us, sometimes from childhood all the way through the entire course of our lives. Bleeding our transportation budgets with high-cost trains to nowhere. Revamping the school system with sustainable development principles from pre-kindergarten all the way to postgraduate school. Declaring our public lands off limits to humans, changing every land use document in the nation to require high-density housing in city centers so that you can be more easily managed, controlled, and surveilled. It allows for warrantless searches and domestic surveillance and identifying us as enemy combatants right here in our own nation. You thought I was going to say the homeland. You know, if an enemy was trying to destroy us, it couldn't do a better job, could it? Because what does an enemy do? What did we do when we went into Iraq? We destroyed the infrastructure. We took down the dams. We took down the bridges. We took care of the roads. We took them out. We went into the educational system. We replaced the government. This is what an invading army does. This is the erection of corporatocracy. It is a global totalitarian state, and it's happening right now. It happens, it doesn't have flashing lights on it. It's not called Agenda 21. That's how come all those people can say, well, we don't know what you're talking about. Agenda 21, you're making that up, aren't you? Or sometimes now you're going to hear, oh, that Agenda 21. Oh, no, that's a good thing. We didn't realize you were talking about that Agenda 21, right? You see that now, because we know. The more of us who know, and the more of us who speak out and speak the truth, the less power they have. There is power. There is power in the people. So I know this is, this is a stealth plan in plain sight, right? And it does sound crazy. It is a crazy plan. We are not crazy. The plan is crazy. So there's an overarching political and social philosophy that goes with this plan, okay? And it's called communitarianism. Now, we are Americans, and we have our Constitution, and it guarantees us our individual rights, right? Our rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those rights were not granted to us by our government, right? And they can't be taken away by a government. We were born with those rights. We were born with those rights. These are our unalienable rights granted to us by who? Our Creator. That's right. Okay, they can't be taken away from us by anyone. That's what our Constitution guarantees us. But communitarianism says that the individual's rights need to be balanced with the rights of the community. Now, what are the rights of the community? They are undelineated. They can change at any time, right? They are granted or taken away by the government. Now, when you balance the individual's rights with the rights of the community, the individual's rights are like a feather, and the community's rights are like a brick. They always outweigh the individual's rights. They are always more powerful and more weighty than the individual's rights. And this is the overarching political philosophy behind sustainable development. So if you want to take a look at a communitarian state, what does a communitarian state look like? It looks like Nazi Germany, Communist Russia, Communist China. Now let's take a look at what happens when you balance your individual rights, you selfish individual, with the rights of the community, okay? We're going to do it like this. We're going to take 2 clear glasses. Now, one is a clear glass of water, and that is your constitutional republic. That's what we have here in this country, right? Constitutional republic. We're going to put it down, a clear glass of water. Now we're going to put down a clear glass of milk. That is a communitarian state. Nazi Germany, Soviet Union. Okay, now we're going to take a clear glass pitcher. We're going to put it down here. We're going to balance your individual rights, your constitutional republic, with the rights of the community, your communitarian state. We're going to balance them. What do you have?
Diluted milk.
You got milk. You've got milk. Your individual rights have been subsumed into the rights of the community. This is what happens. So, the UN Agenda 21 is also dependent on the Hegelian dialectic. Now, don't take a nap here, because here's how it works. It is where a crisis is created, and then a solution is posed, and the compromise between the two now becomes the new normal, the third way, right? So, this is how it works. This is the balance between the crisis and the solution. It becomes the new normal. You never would have agreed to it if it hadn't been for this crisis that now you must respond to quickly without too much thought, right? You got to respond to it. I'll show you what it is. Here we go. Well, you know what the crisis is, don't you? What's the crisis? Climate change. Global warming, climate change, right? Here it is. This is out of my local paper. It's hard to deny that the Earth is functioning well over capacity. Like an overworked horse, it's simply a matter of time before the global organism collapses. Right? Feel that? Feel that? Feel that fear? Feel that pressure, that tension, that panic? You got to do something. You got to do something. Oh, planet's in danger, right? The sea levels are rising. Life forms are threatened. There's no time to lose, right? In 100 years, you're going to need a snorkel to get out of bed, right? Panic, chaos, collapse, okay? All intelligent people agree that it's our fault. Your greedy, selfish, wasteful ways have almost destroyed the planet.
Boy, am I dumb.
Woo, that's right. Okay, so now what do you do? Well, let's see. Here comes the UN. Here comes the UN to the rescue, right? Here comes the UN to the rescue. Oh, we got it. We're going to save the planet. The United Nations World Commission on Environment and Development in 1987. They put out a document, it's called Our Common Future. Now, by now, I know you have heard of sustainable development, right? How could you not? Because we now have sustainable, I don't know, soccer balls, right? We have sustainable water. We have sustainable everything. Sustainable development, everything now, right? Where did that come from? That came from the United Nations, from that book in 1987, Our Common Future. And what is it? Sustainable development. It is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs, right? Well, that sounds good, doesn't it? I mean, who wants to compromise the ability of future generations to meet their needs?